Bro, you mentioned Bethel. Like a lot of people don't know this, but Bethel just take responsibility. They take responsibility. Sons, children of God who are about their father's business take responsibility. The kingdom is filled with solutions and innovation. Everywhere it goes, solutions and innovation. Isaiah 61, I think it is, where it's talking about like healing the broken heart and setting the captives free. This is all solutions, solution based. It's constantly bringing solutions. And Jesus brought solutions everywhere he went, even though some solutions look like flipping tables, some solutions look like confronting a rich young ruler. He brought a solution. And the church doesn't carry that, I love this part about Bethel, and a lot of people maybe don't know this, but Chris Valentin talks about this, how they took responsibility for cleaning up their city.
Yeah.
They collected money. They cleaned the graffiti of the bridges. They cleaned the things that were dirtied by their own citizens. They cleaned it. They took responsibility to pay the police officers when they ran out of money, when the council ran out of money. These guys are taking responsibility for their metron, their sphere that God's given them. In Genesis 1:126 and 1:28, God makes man and he says, fill the earth, subdue, have dominion. And he's like, I've got heaven, but earth I'm giving to man. You establish on earth what I've established in heaven. And man doesn't take this responsibility. And so what's happening in my neighborhood, if I truly understand kingdom and I understand that I'm a son and I want to be like my dad, I want to be like my father who reigns on the just and the unjust, that means everywhere I go, people benefit, people win. Everywhere I go, the kingdom shows up and somehow there is a benefit, there is a win. And so this collision course is massive because we have seen this sleeping church. We have created this. We, me included, have been part of creating this system that puts people on pedestals so then they can have issues like humans, like all of us, fall and then blow everything up. We have created consumer-based church where we all sit down. We just want to receive, and do nothing. We have created this, I can't help but think, can you imagine if just like Bill Johnson, now I'm not saying that there should be other Bill Johnsons because there's only one Bill Johnson, but there are people that carry a version of what he carries with their unique expression. What would have happened if there's 1,000 Bill Johnsons let loose on the earth? Along with 1,000 Reinhard Bonnke's, along with 1,000. And I'm not saying they look the same. It's a unique expression, but it's a similar kind of calling. It's a similar kind of dream that God has put. It would go crazy, but it takes a whole secure community to allow people to flourish and to want others to do more than them. It takes, like, I still remember when I got saved, my pastor, man, he was amazing in so many ways. He went from homeless to being a millionaire. God totally raised him up in that. And he wouldn't take a salary from church. Nobody took a salary. He used to tithe into the church. So there was a lot of money in the church because he was like, God takes care of me. And that's something people got to understand. Like, if I am worried about my funding, I've already revealed to you who my source is, and God is not my source.
Right.
God is not my source. There is only God, and then there is no people. People can't be your source.
Right.
There is only God or the enemy. There is no mid ground. Like, I can't be like my people fund me. Even
Right.
if people fund me, it is coming because of God. It's not the people.
Right.
And so that's straight away. Look, that's a collision. Some people don't want to face this. Like in the group that I've been running, we've had pastors come in and they're watching all the sessions. They're watching the breakthrough, but they're also seeing that the way they've been doing things is actually not very healthy in terms of kingdom. And now this collision brings a confrontation, and they're going to have to make a conscious choice. And this is why I love what Francis Chan did, right? And I love what Neil Cole says, and I love what Wolf says, and Wolf is obviously going to train some of us. And I believe there is an all-inclusive way for this thing to exponentially infiltrate the world. What I mean by that is, Francis Chan only in the last year and a half has been seeing healings. It's almost like he shut off to healings.
Yeah.
And he's so honest and open and real. I love it. Like, he shares in the sermon that he's praying for someone and he doesn't believe they're going to get healed. I mean, if all pastors would get up there and just be human, it would straight away start changing things, Well, I don't mean human in that sense, but be real about what's going on.
Yeah.
But so Francis Chan, they're now bringing the healing aspect. But What would happen if there were small groups that actually wanted each other, loved each other, that were actually united, but then they also operated in everything in the kingdom? And whether it was bringing a solution spiritually, they had it. Whether it was healing, they had it. Whether it was financially, clothing, feeding, they had it. Whether it was innovations, what do we do about the bridge here? What do we do about the ecosystem in the nation? They had it. What if the kingdom really has everything? And I truly believe it does. But we haven't created space or enough space for people to step into that reality. And that's what I'm really burning for and I'm excited about. So when I got saved, we were discipling people. And I still remember when a guy that I was discipling saw this amazing miracle. And it messed with my ego. Because in that moment, I'm like, what? I'm like leading him. But he just saw a bigger miracle than I've ever seen. And I went through a 3-week journey with the Lord, internal journey of, is that okay? Am I going to be okay? Is it really my heart that he does more than I do? Or am I just talking rubbish? And that was such a significant part because today I'm leading this small house church and I'm walking with a whole bunch of people, and my heart's desire is truly that they would step on my head, my ceiling will be their floor, and that they would go places I could never go. And so the greed, the ego, the fear, like I think these are big things that must be tackled. And if there's no collision, it's not going to get tackled.
I love every word you just said over the last minute or two, because you're and I thank you for your honesty as well, because it's true. Because I think to a large extent, the ego and the pride and insecurity, uh, um, the kingdom mindset actually deals with that. But if you don't have a kingdom mindset, it's very easy for the ego and pride and so on to subtly influence your or hijack your decision making without you realizing it. So if you do not have the kingdom mindset, um, your heart will not be to empower people. Your heart will be to actually disempower people, because you want people to come into the building and depend on you. But when you have a kingdom mindset, when your heart is to actually empower people to stand on their own, feed themselves, and do exploits not within the building but beyond the building, then you will have a very your approach will be led inspired by a spirit of freedom and a real kingdom mindset that looks at the bigger picture. And you'll be thinking, as a leader, you'll be thinking like, I want to see the city transformed and the nation impacted. And the only way that's going to happen is if as I've freely received, I freely give. And the people I'm pouring into, they are spending 60 to 70% of their time in the marketplace. And that's where the action is. And that's where Jesus spent most of his time. And that's where the kingdom is manifested, needs to be manifested. And so if that mindset is not there, then the insecurity feeds into the control and hijacks the decision making. Then you want people in the building. You're insecure if the seats are empty, if few seats are empty, if the front row is empty, or if the church is half full. That affects you. And then if that happens, then you're more likely not to empower people, because when people are strong enough to stand on their own and feed themselves and so on, they won't need you anymore. But then a true parent doesn't want your child to be dependent. I have a son right now. My heart is for him to grow, feed himself. Although I love feeding him, it's a joy feeding him. It's a joy to hold him up and have him, quote, depend on me. It feels great to be wanted and to see that he needs me and he's depending on me. But something will be very sick in me as a father, or dysfunctional, if I want him to be in that stage after a year or two as well. Something is wrong.
That's right.
And so something is horribly wrong. And so really the heart of a true kingdom leader, or someone with the kingdom mindset, as you rightly said, would be that I want this person to excel and do greater things than what I have done. I want this person to prophesy more than I have prophesied. I want him to speak in tongues more than I've spoken. I want him to have more impact, prosper financially more than I have prospered. that's that's really leading with the heart of a father. That's really leading with the kingdom mindset. And so all my effort, all my energy, all my time, all my resources are channeled and aimed at ensuring that these people that God has given to me, they're set up for the best. They are equipped and empowered in a way that I perhaps was not equipped and empowered. Right. So
Yeah.
I think it's coming from a place. I think it's about recognizing that, hey, even if I did not see that modeled, even if I did not see the kingdom mindset lived out, or even if I didn't see that leadership style, or that fatherly example, that doesn't mean that I can't do it, and I can't strive or aim for it, or I can't.
Well,
Yeah.